What's it like to cast a spell? You're a wizard in Faerûn. Can you recognize a spell by its casting if you watch someone else casting one? Well, the answer to that second question is yes, usually. And for the answer to the first, hearken, whilst I serve forth some realmslore. What it's really like to cast arcane spells in the realms. Please keep in mind that I'm describing how spells are cast in the realms, not anywhere else. And please also note that many arcane spellcasters modify spells and may stray from the standard versions I'm giving here. So, arcane spellcasting basically follows these steps. Decide the spell to be cast. Get out material components. Fix gaze on the target if the spell requires it. Concentrate on the spell in your mind, or focus your gaze on the text or symbols of the spell if you're reading it from a scroll or spellbook. And when you're fixed on it, say Arcane aloud, loud enough for you, the caster, to hear. Olo is Draconic for unleash, awaken, and Arcane is magic to be, that is, magic that doesn't yet exist. Arcanus is magic in general, which begins the spell. You can pronounce this word any way you, the caster, want to. Its function is to start the casting in your own mind, not impress a third-party examiner. Most mages in the realms in the 1490s DR say it as Olorcan, but as fast as possible. You, the caster, must then, immediately, without delay, perform the somatic components of the spell, which may, in the cases of spells with material components, involve tossing the components to get them out of your grasp, or performing the gestures with the gripped components at the same time as you speak the incantation. Typically, but not always, a 4-line rhyming couplet. For human mages in the realms from 1200 DR on, incanting is usually uttered in common, not the original Draconic. The spell then takes effect, the material components usually vanishing at this moment, consumed by the spell. Weavemasters, arcane spellcasters who've modified widely known spells to their own custom versions, and spellcasters with specific training, subclasses, may be able to successfully do away with one of the usual components of a spell, casting without a gesture, or without speaking, or even, though this is very rare and often drains 1 hit point from the caster in lieu, without using the usual material components. As examples, let's take a look at 3 popular, widely known combat spells. To cast a magic missile spell, the caster must look at a target creature or creatures within range. If they aren't, by the time the very quick casting is done, nothing happens when the casting ends. The spell isn't lost, it just doesn't manifest. If the caster can't see the target before the first word of the incantation, not the activation word, is fully verbalized, the spell just doesn't work. If the target passes out of the caster's visibility after that word is out, the spell does work, and the missiles will unerringly find the target, chasing them around corners and out of sight if need be. If only one target remains visible by the time the first word, in this case, by, all of the missiles will strike that target. There's no material component to this spell, so the caster, their gaze locked on the target, mentally selects and concentrates on the magic missile spell while saying Arcane, then points at the target or cups one finger's uppermost hand and rotates it to be palm uppermost, cupped fingers towards the target, while chanting, "By my will here, do you sear?" At that moment, the air in front of the pointing finger or above the cupped palm will manifest a spherical blue-white mote of light about as big across as the caster's eyeball that splits into 3 or more, how many depends on the caster's level, horizontal teardrop-shaped blue-white bolts of glowing air. The bulb ends towards the target and the pointy tails towards the caster. The caster has a split second in which to concentrate on any new changed targets that they can see at this time and how many missiles to devote to each target, and the missiles will then soundlessly and very quickly streak towards the target, losing their blue-white hue to become translucent, but still glowing as they do so. These are darts or thorns or hiltless daggers of pure force, the same hardened air that a wall of force spell creates, and they will twist and turn and dart through the tiniest of spaces if necessary to reach their targets, whereupon they melt into the target, searing the target internally without heat. It's more like the caustic melting caused by acid inside tissue, and not necessarily causing visible external wounds, and never punctures or slices. Any wound that is visible is like a reddening or blackening from within, below the skin or hide. The spell is done when the missiles manifest. The caster need not follow through or watch them to guide them, and is free to do something else, perhaps flee for their life.
Sorry to interrupt, but I am Ivan, and this is obviously the man himself, Sir Ed Greenwood.
Hello.
And we just wanted to pop in quickly and say that we absolutely love being able to make these videos and write more Realms lore for you. We do, however, rely on the support and the generosity of the Realms community at large, as well as Ed's fans, to make these videos happen. So if you would consider becoming a protector of the Realms by heading on over to patreon.com/EdGreenwood, not only does that support Ed directly, but it also allows us to continue bringing you the best content possible on this platform. But hey, maybe Patreon's not your thing, and that's perfectly okay. If you want to support Ed another way, he does have the Ed Greenwood line of official adventuring gear. And you can always get a sweet mug, a sweet shirt, a hoodie, and that also goes directly into the coffers to help keep this going. So for now, I'll let you get back to the video, and we hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. Next up, let's take a look at Fireball. Instead of Olorcan, it uses Varthe, which means ignite or kindle in Draconic. The traditional material components are a bat's tongue and a pinch of powdered sulfur, or a lump of sulfur of the size of the caster's smallest fingernail. Other material components can be substituted, such as charcoal from a fire and a pinch of phosphorus, but the incantation must be altered to match them. The caster begins by concentrating on the precise spot they want the center of their fireball to manifest. They then get out the material components one-handed and crush the sulfur lump while grinding it one-handed against the bat's tongue. Or, if the material components won't crush, grind them together continuously while making a cupping, curving motion as if stroking the outside of a sphere with the other hand. As these gestures are made, the incantation is spoken. The most popular one for this spell in Faerûn being, "By tongue of bat and sulphur's reek, and the mystic words I now do speak, where I wish to warm life's game, that empty air burst into flame." The sphere cupping hand becomes a pointing gesture towards the desired ground zero of the fireball, as the caster's other hand tosses the material components upwards and outwards, whereupon they vanish, consumed by the spell. If all has gone well, the fireball should then manifest with a roar. And now for our last spell, Lightning Bolt. The caster begins by choosing the spell and deciding the path of the bolt outwards from themselves. This spell also uses an utterance of Varthe, which means ignite or kindle in Draconic, instead of Olorcan. The caster speaks this word while getting out the material components, which are traditionally a bit of fur from any furred creature, and a rod of amber, crystal, or glass. Traditionally wand-sized, but increasingly these days, shorter rods are used for ease of carrying and to cut down on breakage. Such a rod should be at least as long as the caster's longest finger. These two components are rubbed together, ideally with the fur wrapped around the rod and rubbed up and down it as the incantation is spoken aloud. The caster need not actually produce a spark by the manipulation of fur and rod, so long as they visualize a spark appearing in the empty air above the fur and rod with an audible pop. They then let go of the components, letting them fall, and these components will vanish immediately, consumed by the spell. The most popular incantation for this spell in Faerûn is, "Where lightning leaps, things do fry, sizzle now, perchance to die, lightning stab and lightning pierce, that the strike be keen and the damage fierce." Most casters use one hand to point at the desired line of lightning bolt and let the bolt manifest from in front of their pointing finger. But the older tradition is to raise the hand upright and palm outwards as if making a stop signal, and the lightning race outwards from it. And there you have it. Precisely how to cast 3 of the most popular battle spells wizard hurl around the realms. I'd stand clear if I were you.